Welcome to Integration TV, the first English television for Somalis around the world, and now the first Somali English TV show in Somalia. I want to welcome you to all our viewers from across the Horn of Africa who are watching us on Somali National Television for our premiere show. This is an exciting moment for me, as I've always been passionate about changing the media in Somalia, and with inspiring stories, we hope to continue that and introduce you guys to progressive, successful, and entrepreneurial Somalis from around the world. On today's show, we're going to meet a Somali doctor who didn't know about his heritage until his teenage years. He grew up in Western Canada, went back to Somalia recently, and he has a fascinating life story that we're going to learn about today, because I'm just shocked that it's hidden gems in our community are everywhere, and we're finding them on Integration TV. So please welcome Dr. Joel Schindel from Saskatchewan to Integration TV as we learn about his journey to Somalia and to Islam. Welcome, mashallah.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here.
Well, it's a pleasure, alhamdulillah. Thanks for having me.
I'm always amazed of looking for Somalis that are hidden, because there isn't many people that are willing to admit now, like, they run from being Somali, but you sought out your Somali heritage. Tell me about that journey.
So, yeah, alhamdulillah, like, you know, being born and raised in Saskatoon, for the most part with my mom, and it wasn't until I knew about my father. I knew I had, you know, siblings, and my mom always, you know, let it be known that I have family, and my father kept connection from time to time, and so then it wasn't until I was about 15 or so, and I think my mom felt a little bit more comfortable, and my sister kind of was the ambassador on behalf of my family, who kind of contacted me. And
so your sister is from a different mother, obviously, right?
Yes,
okay.
yeah.
But are they full Somali themselves, or?
My sister is actually, she has some indigenous heritage, but we have the same dad, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
So she contacted you and
she
wanted to learn about you?
Well, she reached out and just, you know, again, my aunts and my sister were living in California, and my sister contacted me and reached out, and wanted to, you know, connect. And so I was about, I think, 15 at the time.
Wow.
And then from there, you know, we talked a lot on the phone. We got to get to know one another. And, you know, may God bless my mom. You know, she was very accepting, and made the effort when I was 15 to take me down all the way to California to meet my family. That's for the first time, alhamdulillah. So,
what was that experience like?
It was awesome. I mean, I was young, and I was like, you know, a typical Canadian kid. So I was like, California, right? I was like, that was a big focus. But, you know, thinking back, like, I got to see my grandma, you know what I mean? And my yayo, alhamdulillah. And and it was really, it hit me when she saw me, because she was like, there's Bishar, there's like her son, right? And she's like, she'd point at, you know, she'd be like, that's my son. Everything reminded her of my father. And so it was then that I really kind of said, you know, this is more than just, you know, a vacation. And I got to meet some of my cousins. I got to meet my Edo and some of my other cousins, and of course my sister, and spend a lot of time. And she's a big influence in my life.
That's amazing. So when you were growing up, like, what did you think about being Somali?
Again, like, it wasn't until I really kind of connected with my sister, you know, that I really even knew. I mean, it was funny. Like, I think probably...
And just to let everybody know, in the 1970s, there wasn't really any Somalis in Canada, number one. I mean, my family arrived in the early 80s, but for your dad to be in Canada in the 70s, that's pretty historic.
SubhanAllah. I mean, I think, again, I'm appreciating, and I think this is something that, you know, that when you get older, when you become, you know, get to become a parent, then you really truly appreciate your parents and what they went through and the struggles they went through. And I mean, it wouldn't have been easy for any immigrant of any color to be living, never mind someone who comes from, you know, a very, you know, like, communal society, right? And to come into a place like Western Canada. So definitely appreciate it.
So he was studying school at that time, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so alhamdulillah, he did various degrees, you know, University of Saskatchewan, and then he went to Ottawa. But it wasn't until, again, I met with my sister that I kind of, you know, got to know a little bit more that, you know, about being Somali and what that kind of introduced to that. I don't think, I was joke and say that, you know, it wasn't until I was in high school that I I don't even know if I knew I was black, you know what I mean? Like, cause there's like, you're like, I think there's like me and a First Nation kid in my elementary, and that was it. But, you know, it was, and then again, these are social scripts that you're filling, and it's like, then I started, you know, wanting and yearning for more, you know, like in terms of like I was always seeking out, you know, different people. Not that I had a problem with, but I wanted something different. I liked something, you know, people from...
You had this yearning to be more Somali, to learn more, to understand the culture?
I think, you know, initially it was kind of, it was different. I liked certain things. But again, it wasn't until probably until I got more into learning more about Islam that I got to see a lot of the benefits that I see in Somalis in terms of how the Somali culture adheres in a lot of senses to Islam a lot more, right? And so that really attracted me, and I think, you know, that, you know, and then when it was something that is a journey, it came more, I wanted to learn more, and I continue to want to learn more. So it's kind of something that I've not stopping, but it's...
So when was the first time you met your dad as a teenager? Like, was it when you went back to Somalia, or how did that happen?
So yeah, so the first, so I saw my father for the first time after a number of years in 2014 when I went to go back. Alhamdulillah, you know, I had finished all my residency, you know, worked for a little bit and was more obviously able to go back. And yeah, it was an amazing experience. Like, you know, you go in to see your father you haven't seen it was amazing. Like, he came out on the tarmac, and like, it was like, I knew who my father, I mean, obviously
Did he look just like you?
Well, we like copy, you know?
Really?
Yeah, so, and, you know, obviously, like, we had developed, you know, like a very strong relationship through telephone, Skype, whatever it was, email. And so, you know, my father's very much like always about keeping the family together. So he always kept in touch, like I said, even when I was a kid. But
to see him in real life now was just so powerful, wasn't it?
Of course, yeah. It was, I mean, it was amazing. And then it was, the second time I went was even, I really got an opportunity to really spend more time with him. And then again, like I said, you really appreciate the struggles and challenges people go through, and what successes that they've done, and you really begin to, and that's why I think in Islam, why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has to remind the children about their parents, not the other way around, right? It's
so true. SubhanAllah. Well, we're going to be back right after this break to continue our conversation with Dr. Joel Schindel, and I think he has a Somali name, so we're going to learn about that right after this break. We'll be back on Integration TV.
When tradition calls and you yearn for the new sights, sounds, and the beauty of our land, let us take you there. With Ocean Airlines, we bring back the Somali airline experience. With new technology, reliable services, and 24-hour online booking, Ocean Airlines is changing the game. Get ready for the sweet taste of life. Be a flying nomad. Be with Ocean Airlines, your gateway to the motherland. Book, pay, and check in online at ocean-airlines.com.
Hi, I'm Ramla, owner of Studio Glam. Welcome to our new facility where we offer hair, makeup, and henna in one location. Visit us at your local one-stop shop, Studio Glam, hair, makeup, and henna.
Hano Academy.
hadal aan badnayn iyo hadiyad baan sidaaye hamigiina bal sheegta xirfado lahantiyo cilmiga hibanaya
hibay waxaan ahay xirfadle aan hore u xaadirin xarun waxbarasho shahaadan u haysan xirfadii ee maxaan ka hanan karaa Hano Academy hibay horaan u halgamo shahaada jaamacad u hantay ha yeeshee inaan horumarsho hamigaygu yahay ee maxaan ka hanan karaa Hano Academy
hibay dhowr sanaan ku haminayay ingiriisi ku hadlidiisa oo hawsheedii uga habsaamay halna kama sheegay hingaadiise maxaan ka hanan karaa Hano Academy
waa helinkii idinku wada haboona Hano Academy waxaadna ka heli kartaan
upgrading skills academic progression, personal and social development, workplace experience for skills development, vocational training, entrepreneurship with company formation and business startups.
dhammaan macallimiintuna waa ajaanib
hamugaan oo hawdayma la'aan Hano Academy waxay ku taala inta u dhaxaysa isgoyska Banaadir iyo isbitaalka Digfaar
wixii faafaynta dheer waxaad booqan kartaa website-ka macadka oo ah www.hanoacademy.com.
Welcome back to Integration TV. We are still chatting with Dr. Schindel from Saskatchewan, Canada, who discovered all about his Somali heritage recently, and he has a Somali name. Okay, so you have a Somali name. I'm still in shock. You told me you have a Somali. Who gave you the Somali name?
So my father actually named me like from the beginning, but I think it just was a bit of there was just a little bit of, I don't know what happened, but my mom, I think, had was wanting to put, you know, the name down, so she knew there was like some sort of faith, so she actually looked, she said she looked into the Bible and she just picked out the name Joel, but my Somali name would be Omar Bishar Ali Hajjalire. So
wow, that's a long name.
Yeah. So we all have long names, don't we? Have like that.
So when you went back to Somalia, did you learn your what they call aptitiris, where you kind of go back 40 grandfathers?
I didn't learn it. I didn't memorize it. I'm in the process. So I mean, but don't quiz me on TV here.
That's so cool though.
But alhamdulillah, no. So
isn't that a fascinating part of our culture? The fact that we can trace back our heritage in so many generations.
It's amazing, and that's why I said and again, that's one of the things that I learned. I'm really intrigued by one of the many things about the Somali, you know, culture. And again, it's important that obviously Islam comes first. We're Muslims first, but there's, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made us, you know, into different tribes and made us into different peoples, and so to know one another. And I think that's what I'm doing. And so
it's beautiful. So now I want to talk about your journey to Islam. Obviously, you know, you're raised as a Christian. And how did that, tell me about that journey, what happened, it's just fascinating, you know?
So, number one, the most important woman in my life is my mom.
Oh,
and,
mashallah.
you know, she's...
As she should be.
Of course. And, you know, the one thing that started, I guess, the first thing is that her akhlaq and adab, you know, her mannerism, how she taught is, I mean, I always tell her, I said, you know, when I got into medical school, I said, this isn't important to me. What's important to me is that I want you to really think about Islam, you know, and those things, because she is such an inspiration, the way she conducts herself and how she teaches me about right and wrong and those things. So that was the beginning, I believe.
And isn't that the beauty of Islam? It starts with character?
Yeah, it's we'll be asked on the Day of Judgment, one of the most heaviest things will be, you know, obviously testimony of faith, but then our good manners, our akhlaq and adab, how did you, you know, conduct yourself? So I think that's where my journey really started. But then the next most influential woman in my life is my sister, Faduma Zahra. So, you know, I call her Sarah, but, you know, that's her the Somali way, I guess you'd say it. And so she's been a huge influence. She was one who helped me, you know, get through the high school, because I wasn't really, you know, exposed, and it wasn't until I was 16. She was living in South Dakota, and then at the time, and typically she's been Somali. She's going in there's different states.
So we're natural nomads.
Because of her, I got to see all of the United States. But I mean, may Allah bless her. So then it wasn't. So she would always talk to me about, you know, being close to God. She didn't push or, you know, shove or say anything particularly. But you know, it wasn't until I went to go see her for that for about in the summertime. That's actually ironically 2001, and I went with her husband, who I think probably thought, he knew my father, obviously, probably thought I was just one of those, you know, you know, kind of kids who just
You learned the right Somali terms.
Who just is you know, doesn't practice. But I will lie, I didn't know anything about Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. I didn't know about Allah. I didn't know anything about that. But he kept asking, do you want to go to the mosque? My sister, do you want to go to the mosque with Khalid? And I'm like, you know what? You know, inshallah.
Was that intimidating at first? Somebody asking you
that?
No,
it was kind of no, I want to play basketball, because it's in the States, in Saskatchewan, you have to beg someone to play with you, you know, but there was every day. So, and Khalid would take me. So then finally I said, okay, I'm going to go. And it was really interesting actually, because I went in, it's this really mesquite, really humble masjid. It's on 6th Avenue. Everyone, if anybody was in South Dakota, in Sioux Falls, and it was literally on 6th Avenue there, across from a park, and it's a house. And so I went in there, and obviously I didn't know how to make wudu or anything like that, but then it was so hot, Midwest hot, just humid. And so I went in there, and then I made wudu. I followed him, and it was really weird when he put his foot in the sink, and I was like, what's the dude doing here, man? You know, there's no proper wudu station. Yeah. So, but it was really refreshing, in a weird, I can remember it, doing the wudu. I was like, wow. And then, so then we went to go, it was Jummah, so we went to go pray. So, but before that,
did you know how to pray?
No, that's
wow. So you went in the mosque, and
so I went in, and it was, the one thing was amazing, because this is not to knock anything else, but it was nice to see. I was expecting. I mean, the only experience of a religious facility is of church, and so then I went in. There's just carpet. I'd never seen a room with nothing else in it but just carpet.
Wow.
So it was really humbling. That hit me first, and then the imam was like talking about the heart. And wallahi, I remember if this is the corner over there, I was leaning against the wall and I was just listening to him, and that was it. Wallahi, that's when Allah gave hidayah, and Allah gives when He wants, and that was the moment. And so then it comes to praying. So then I'm coming to pray, and then it was funny because I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm trying to look around, and I'm being obvious, like I'm like, and then Khalid's like, don't move your head, you know, like don't move around. And I was like, okay. So the next time we go, I think the next Friday or something, and I'm like sitting there, and I'm trying to be real slick, just trying to, you know,
copy what everybody else is
doing.
doing.
But just not moving my head. And then he's like, I told you, don't do that. I'm like, how's this guy praying? How does he know?
Yeah, how is he watching you and he's supposed to be praying?
No, I must have been more obvious than that. So then anyways, kind of fast forwarding, that was a huge turning point in my life. And then I came back, and it was a little bit weird because it was like there wasn't a lot of Muslims or a lot of people that I knew who were Muslim. And so then, but alhamdulillah, like, you know, I was able to meet someone, and as a Pakistani brother, and I met him in my grade 12 year. And again, like, I kind of seeking out kind of that novel person, someone who's not just the typical. And so we exchanged a lot of things. He had a huge part of my life in terms of like studying, like, you know, Pakistanis, mashallah, like those guys in education is awesome. So like they really had he had an influence in that respect.
Is that when you realized after that you become a little bit more disciplined? You wanted to go into medical school and become a doctor?
Yeah, because he was the one. So someone had suggested it because my sister she was working with high risk youth, you know, in San Diego and different things. And mashallah, now she's like a nurse practitioner, mashallah. But she was really, you know, doing a lot of outreach work and stuff. So I was inspired by that. I wanted to go down. She was living in Atlanta at the time. And I got a reality check. You can't just go without a degree and expect to get a green card or work, right?
Yeah.
So then I met someone who said, like, why don't you be a pediatrician? I'm like, what is that? I didn't know what that was. They're like, it's a doctor. And I was like, whoa, no, what's a doctor? And but then I was like, it kind of caught on there. Like, you can be financially be able to help, but also you're making a difference in the work you're doing. So I was like, that seems like a good combination. And then it was my Pakistani friend who said, okay, that's what you want to do, but this is what you need to do to be able to get there.
Yeah,
amazing. So he kind of scared the crap out of me. So when I went to university, but it was him and I, we really got to connect. And we hung out in the summertime. And I was a very lively guy. I mean, I loved, you know, I was high on life. I didn't need to use drugs or alcohol, you know, but alhamdulillah, like, you know, so I like to go and be with people and socialize. So I exchanged that for him, and he exchanged kind of a discipline. But him and I would come home after, like, you know, being out, and then he's like, you want to pray? You know, and I was like, and before that I said, like, are you Muslim? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, oh man, that's cool. My sister's Muslim. Because it's like, because I was 16 when I was with my sister, and then this is more like when I was 18. And then so I'd pray with him, you know, and that from there, then I came to Toronto. So that was my first time to come to Toronto, was like 2003.
Yeah.
And then I made it a habit to come every year because, like, there was like
a large community
and everything. And it was amazing. Like, Toronto was interesting in the sense that you have that feeling of Islam here, like even more than you see in some places in the States. So, alhamdulillah.
That's powerful.
And so then the rest is history, you could say.
Yeah, the rest is history. Now you're a dad, you got 4 kids, you married a Somali girl. Like, what else do we need to know? Yes. So right after the break, we're going to come right back, and we're going to talk about his journey of medicine and basically how you're doing amazing work with Indigenous communities in Canada. And one of the things that I love that you said was healthcare in Canada sometimes reminds you of healthcare in Somalia. So we're going to learn about that statement right after this break. You're watching Integration TV.
goortaad u hilowda dhaqankaaga oo aad gacaloota dhulkii hooyo cadceedda iyo quruxda ilaahay ku manaystay Ocean Airlines ayaa ku leh ina keeno ina soo kaakiciya. Ocean Airlines waa diyaarad Soomaaliyeed oo diyaar kuugu ah dalxiiskii dalka hooyo. Waxay caan ku tahay Ocean Airlines waa diyaaradda kaliya ee 24 saac ka iibsan karto shabakadda internetka. Waa isbeddelkii la sugayay ku soo dhawaada nolosha macaan ee reer guuraaga duulaya. Ocean Airlines ku bixi kana iibso shabakadda ocean/airlines.com.
Hi, I'm Ramla, owner of Studio Glam. Welcome to our new facility where we offer hair, makeup, and henna in one location. Visit us at your local one-stop shop, Studio Glam, hair, makeup, and henna.
If you're looking for real Somali food, look no further than Bilal Restaurant. Toronto's hidden secret offers you a cozy, comfortable environment with freshly cooked Somali food. Enjoy your choice of delicious Somali rice, steak chicken, and their specialty of various roasted goat meat. Bilal Restaurant is located at 321 Rexdale Boulevard at Martin Grove. Bilal Restaurant, your place for real Somali food.
Welcome back to Integration. We're still chatting with Dr. Joel Schindel, who has a Somali name. I have to practice your Somali name. Dr. Umar.
Dr. Umar Bishar.
Dr. Umar Bishar Hachi.
Lire.
Lire. Umar Hachi Lire. Okay, very nice. Welcome, Doctor, again. So before the break, we were talking about the fact that, you know, Indigenous communities, you are working as a doctor in the community. Tell me about that journey and what do you love about it?
The big thing I like about it is that it's like I mean, the people, of course, you know, like I feel that these are people who, they're the first peoples. It was their, you know, hospitality that allowed us to be here, you know, because they, and if we want to put it frankly, but I think too, like the how we work is very much team-based and collaborative, and so like they have a lot of services that are already there. It's just that I'm kind of that final piece as the physician to be able to kind of connect everything together and fill that void.
Is it hard to find doctors to work there? Is that what it is?
Yeah, there's a lot of misconceptions. Okay. Just like Somalis, we have a lot of misconceptions. If you Google Somalia or Somalis, what comes up? So.
But the Indigenous communities have a very beautiful culture. They're very thriving when it comes to keeping a family unit.
For sure.
Even religion, like even their religious practices, they're very spiritual people. So, like, it's amazing that Somalis, like I think we have a lot of connection to.
Yeah, exactly. And so I mean, and that makes things so much easier to work there. To be completely honest with you, like you mentioned it, family. They're very much about family. When it comes to when someone is, you know, becomes pregnant, this is wealth to them to have children. Like as soon as they see the two lines, that's a child. It's not a fetus. It's not this. And it's very much, you know. And someone gave me a door. You know, they're like, what is it? Wiliano. You know what I mean? Like,
Wiliano. Yeah.
So I mean, it's like for them, it's similar. You know. So. But very much spiritual, very much like a holistic health and how they view things. So we have, you know, our prophetic medicines. And so I tell them, I said, look and so they really trust me for that because they say like, they know that I'm not going to judge them because they're not going Western medicine.
Yes. And I mean, they want to keep their traditions.
Exactly. And I think integrating, no pun intended, is the way
integration.
Hashtag, no, is the way to actually, the way forward, I feel. There's a lot of things like they had the kukums or the ayayos there. Yeah. They have solutions to a lot of home remedies that
hey, you know what? I remember when I was a kid and I burned myself and my mom took flour and put it on my hand and it healed fast. And she was like, I learned this in Somalia. Or like when people got cut and they put like chicken poop on it and it worked. And I'm like, so.
Yeah,
I mean, people are going back to natural healing, natural medicine.
Exactly. And I mean, so that makes my job easy and enjoyable. So I mean, it's like, again, like, I drive about an hour each way, you know, to go out to these communities, but it's my time for myself, but also it's like I wouldn't want to really work in the city. I think it would be too, I would miss this too much. I miss them too much. So.
Do you think going back to Somalia gave you that yearning to keep community within you?
Yeah, like I think that, you know, it let me see the similarities in that respect, kind of, because, you know, working in rural, you have the confidence to pretty much, in rural Canada, you have the confidence to work pretty much anywhere. Just the right combination of good training and experience and a system that allows for that. And so, yeah, like definitely like going to Somalia, I say like, you know, I want to bring whatever I have here, I want to take it back. So, I mean, it makes me want to be more about with the community back in Somalia as much as I can. I mean, and bring from here. So
when you went back to Somalia, this is kind of a fascinating story. You volunteered at Banadr Hospital in Mogadishu, was it?
I went to it was Dainile Hospital.
Sorry, learning.
And that's okay.
Okay, so Dainile Hospital.
Yes.
Tell me about that experience.
So it was. I went a couple times. So the first time was just kind of just to see what is there. Now it is formally known as the Doctors Without Borders, the
Oh, Doctors,
MSF,
okay.
yeah, with
Yeah.
Doctors Without Borders Hospital. Unfortunately, they had to leave due to some of the violence that was going on in 2013. But alhamdulillah, like there's another charity that's picked it up, and yeah, it was an amazing experience to see what they had, you know, and what they're doing with what they have. But at the same time, there was a lot more advances and eagerness that it was really impressive, and I feel that they really owned it. They really were like, this is our hospital, and we were proud of it. We want to, you know, and they had a huge catchment. They were serving a huge amount of people. So the fact that they were serving tens of thousands of people with that was amazing. So
what's your impressions of healthcare in Somalia?
I mean, it's one of the governmental services, you know, a huge, you know, and regardless of whether it's a single payer or there's more like the States where there's private, there's still the government has to put in a lot of, you know, money and infrastructure. So when you don't have a government, you're really, the country really struggles in that regard. So, and again, you know, you had mentioned, we were talking about that, is like that there's two major centers kind of in Somalia, and then you have a lot of rural. So that's where there has to be innovation.
Like the two big cities, and everybody has to go there for the best healthcare, or leave the country and go to India, or go to Malaysia, or Kenya, or somebody. I mean, all the diaspora know this story. You know, you're sitting at home and your aunt or somebody back home is ill, and they're like, "Send money. We got to send them to India for medical care." And you're like, "Why can't we learn how to build that in our country?"
Exactly.
What do you think the challenge is there?
Good question. I think that, you know, I think we got to kind of break things down and just see how can and want it for ourselves. I mean, I don't want to speak for the people in Somalia, but I think that my humble opinion would be that, yeah, we want to say that we totally can. We're in a really good position to, we have a lot of ports, you know, we don't have a lot of issue. We can bring a lot of things in. I think too, though, that we have to look at innovative ways to be able to do things, and not always, it's not about profit. That's the problem.
Yes.
I think that, you know, and I think too, regulation is huge. And I mean, I think these are things that
I was shocked there's so much expired medicine coming in the country.
I mean, I think, you know, that is a big problem. And I think someone was I was reading an article, I mean, I'm always reading, trying to learn more about Somalia, and they said that now that's kind of more than bullets, as you find that, you know, you're having these, you know, counterfeit medication, not even expired. Sometimes expired, like it depends on, again, their quality, but it's huge. And I think that those are things that, that we can fix.
Yeah, no,
ourselves.
absolutely. So should we get, like, I want people, I'm just still fascinated by your story and how authentic and honest you are. So I want to thank you, because it's hard to find subjects that are willing to put themselves out there. And, you know, when I started this TV thing, people thought I was crazy, like just being myself. So it's nice to meet other Somalis who really want to share their life stories to empower people. What do you think your message is to the community out there? That's
another tough question, but
you're a tough guy. Come on, you survived medical school.
Alhamdulillah. So I would say that, like, you know, if we're talking about the, you know, diaspora, is a quick thing. Is, you know, I think that although you know, my upbringing is a little bit different, but I think at the same time we've been here long enough. It's time for us to really take a lot of this knowledge back home to benefit people, and to take the skill set and to try to put in the, you know, the blood, sweat, and tears to bring that back home, because there's such an eagerness and such a desire back home. It's amazing. Like it's, and then I think it's, I think that people back home need to keep that drive, and at the same time, like, know that they can build it themselves. I think that, like, again, we don't want to always have someone else coming in and doing it for us.
Yes.
That's that we want to be. I think, especially as me as a Muslim man, always was advised and told, and I believe we need to be independent and self-sufficient. And I think that that's the best way. If we kind of keep to that, then we can do it. And I think Somalis are so innovative. Yes. When it comes to certain things, they can do it. I mean, like, I read one thing, and it blew me. I always promote this. I always say it because it said, when governments is more of a hindrance than a help, and they say the example was Somalia, and they said that the telecommunications industry is, you revolutionize it for Africa, is better than everywhere, even than even South Africa. You know what I mean? In the sense that you could get the connections, and I can call home from Somalia than cheaper than the other way around. So if we can do it in that, which is something that is all tech, imagine things that just require people and innovation and thinking. I think Somalia's full of people who can do that. That's phenomenal. Now, you're a father of 4 children. Alhamdulillah. What do you want to share with your children about Somalia? Alhamdulillah, so my one daughter has gone, so she loves it and she always remembers it. And I think that, you know what, I really think we're blessed as Somalis to be able to have something that maybe other cultures don't have who have come to the West, is to go back home and can right away immerse ourselves back to a culture that really, you know, promotes a lot of things within our faith, because that's our success. Yes. Is going to be is not just this life, but the next life. And I think that, you know...
no, it's so powerful you just said that, because people always ask, you know, like, when was that moment you decided to never, like basically change your life to become more of a representation of who you are as a Muslim? And one of the things was when I was in Mogadishu, and I realized it just hits you when you're in a Muslim country, how powerful your faith is and how powerful our culture is in practicing Islam. So it was just that moment. There's moments of change that happen in your life, and I think it happens to a lot of people when they go back home, because you realize you feel at home.
Alhamdulillah. And
our culture is Islam.
Oh, and that's the thing. That's alhamdulillah one of the and the thing I guess I would say is it's what kind of hurts me. If I could say one more thing of advice would be, or my humble advice would be, you know, to the people, especially in Somalia, that us as diaspora, we want to come back. Yeah. We wish that we could go, like, I mean, I had on my desk in my office, and this doctor came by and he's like, "What's that?" And I had a picture of my brother and I in Lido. He's like, "Why isn't that developed? Why isn't that like a resort on there?" You know, and it was like, that's Mogadishu, man. Like, I mean, but I'm like, we're working on it, but you know, so it's as much.
Why don't you hold that thought? We're going to go to a commercial break.
Perfect.
And come right back as we continue our conversation with Dr. Umar Lide. Oh my gosh, Dr. Joel Schindel. We'll be back after these messages on Integration TV.
goortaad u hilowda dhaqankaaga oo aad gacaloota dhulkii hooyo cadceedda iyo quruxda ilaahay ku manaystay Ocean Airlines ayaa ku leh ina keeno ina soo kaakiciya. Ocean Airlines waa diyaarad Soomaaliyeed oo diyaar kuugu ah dalxiiskii dalka hooyo. waxay caan ku tahay Ocean Airlines waa diyaaradda kaliya ee 24 saac ka iibsan karto shabakadda internetka. waa isbeddelkii la sugayay ku soo dhawaada nolosha macaan ee reer guuraaga duulaya. Ocean Airlines ku bixi kana iibso shabakadda ocean/airlines.com.
Welcome back to Integration TV, first Somali English television broadcasting around the world. I'm so happy to have you guys here still with us. We're just wrapping up our conversation with the dynamic life story of Dr. Joel Schindel, Dr. Umar. I still like the Somali name. Come on now.
Of course, alhamdulillah.
I hope your mom doesn't get offended though.
No.
It's a beautiful name, Joel.
Alhamdulillah.
So let's just continue the conversation. I want to, you know, there's so many challenges. I myself meet a lot of youth now who are growing up in Western countries who have struggles of identity. What is your advice for that?
Yeah, that's that again. Amazing questions. But
I live for the questions.
Alhamdulillah. Number one is, yeah, we have to have a sense of pride in our identity, and I mean that may be a little cliche, but in honesty, I think we need to kind of look and see what makes up our identity and what do we believe is our identity. And I think that, you know, regardless of your culture, I think that, you know, we are Muslims first, and then, you know, whatever we are as second. But I think we can get strengths from where our backgrounds are from.
What are some of the pains you experienced with identity growing up?
Well, definitely, like I was saying, I think, like, I didn't even know I was too different until I hit high school, and I had to fit these social scripts of, you know, being black, and, you know, they didn't differentiate. It was just, you were black, you have curly hair, you have to act in such a way. And I think that when you allow someone else to tell you how to, you know, to do things, then of course you'll be constantly changing, and realizing that if you're trending, if you're just trying to just be not trending, but if you're trying to be trendy,
yes,
trends change. That's what the whole point of it. But I think if you look to the fundamental truths and you just break it down, we have something from our faith that tells us, you know, what is right, what is best, how's the best way to act, how's the best way to treat one another, and what is truly success. If you kind of take that time to learn that, then realize that it's the truth, you'll have that confidence to say, you know what, this is how I need to go about things, or how I approach the situation.
Do you think Somali youth in the diaspora are having an identity crisis? I mean, I'm just finding it fascinating that you are of Somali mixed heritage, but there's Somalis that are both parents are Somali, and a lot of them don't know their culture either. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I would say that for me, I think it was a little bit easier in some cases because I wanted to search. I think I find with other people who are mixed, they want to always find out, especially if it's like mixed with like, you know, Anglo-Saxon Canadian, they want to find out the other. You know, it's interesting, it's intriguing, you have that desire. And whereas you kind of, like anything, if it's always there, you kind of take it for granted. And I think that, you know, not that it's one particular part, but I think that, you know, we have to realize the structure of our homes and how we raise our families. It has to be different. You have to put a lot more like blood, sweat, and tears into it out here because you don't have that huge communal thing that you have back home. And so I think that that's definitely probably contributing to a lot of the struggle. And I think that, yeah, a lot of Somalis...
Is it because they feel like they have to fit in a certain identity box in the West?
Yeah, I think that, you know, that definitely...
I've noticed that a lot of our kids now have picked up the hip-hop culture,
sure.
You know, which I personally, like all teenagers growing up in this world, like we heard that music.
Exactly.
But it can be very damaging, the images they promote about women, about, you know, different things. So
I mean, transitioning to Islam, I mean, like, that was one thing where I kind of decided, you know, like, I can't really have a cognitive dissonance trying to listen to a lot of music because it was all against what I was learning and becoming. And
it's almost like when you become more practicing, you just, it kind of falls away from you.
Yeah,
you're not interested anymore.
Exactly.
It's kind of weird.
Exactly. But, you know, and I think that it's something that, yeah, that you need to have some value to it, and someone needs to tell you this is value and give you that confidence and tell you that, yeah, this is the best and this is the right way and this is, you know, the good things about it. And I think if you're not having those conversations, and I think that, you know, that then, yeah, if you're not, you know, talking about it and learning about it and implementing it, then someone's doing that to you. That's kind of the way of the West. I find that if you're not talking about something or, you know, constantly in conversation, then it's kind of coming the other way. So.
Yeah, that's powerful. So any last words?
Yeah, like...
and again, I have to really thank you for putting yourself out there because I know it's uncomfortable sometimes, and but your story could change someone's life.
Inshallah, inshallah. I mean, first of all thanks are to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for guiding me, giving me, you know, putting the most amazing people in my life. And so always thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, and I'd say that, you know, again, I'm speaking as a brother to my brothers and sisters. That, you know what, for those people in the diaspora, I think that, you know, again, we need to start taking advantage of the blessings that we have here, and that we're blessed more than so many people around the world to be in a country like Canada and to be able to take advantage of that, and any other diaspora countries. And that, you know, we're past this refugee status and coming from war. I mean, that's a long time ago. Now we need to start doing something and giving back. And then I think back home, same thing, like, in the sense that, you know, take a look around you and see the blessings that they have there. It's like people, we want to go there. I don't want to be in -40, you know what I mean? I'd rather be on, you know, hanging out at Lido Beach and being able to go to a place where I can take my daughters and they can feel comfortable and, you know, and don't have to be constantly questioned and, you know, and for who they are.
There's like when you just go to Somalia, there's instant belonging.
Man.
And that's like a feeling that you can't explain to people.
Exactly.
Like when I go home, I feel like I'm home.
Exactly. And I guess I'd end in the sense that I was talking with someone, and you know, when Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, who is an amazing person, you know, obviously second only to Abu Bakr, when he went to go, you know, take, you know, the keys for Jerusalem, he was talking about how it was Islam that brought us izzah, or brought us respect. And so it's if we didn't have that, then we wouldn't have that respect. And I think that we need to always remember that it's our faith, and we're blessed as Somalis to have a long history of Islam in our lives. And I think that, you know, we need to take pride in that, and we need to start taking pride in the things that make us and give us that sense of self-respect and dignity.
Absolutely, and I think that once we start focusing on the basics of Islam, which is obviously character.
Of course.
And, you know, if we treat our brothers and sisters like we want to be treated, then the big changes can come everywhere for us.
For sure. I mean, the Prophet ﷺ said, I came to perfect good character. And his character was like the Quran. And it's one of the heaviest things on the Day of Judgment. So, I mean, what more do we need to know that should be our focus?
Alhamdulillah. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Joel Schindel. And
And
congratulations on continuing your knowledge building and going back to Somalia.
Alhamdulillah. Well, thanks for having me. It was amazing, and I have to just say, like, I've been heard a lot about your show from the beginnings, and I think you've made some amazing strides. So keep it up. It's awesome.
Thank you so much, Safaha. This is Integration. You're watching the first Somali English TV around the world. I want to thank you so much for joining us. And don't forget, we are on YouTube 24 hours a day, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. That's where we started, and that's where our journey continues to change the narrative of Somalis around the world. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.